Screon. Xenia is called away to take care of an issue I'm certain Isaachia set up ahead of time.
She did, and Xenia didn't notice.
Clever trick, I say. Let's hear what she has to say.
I try,
Isaachia says. Her temperature drops, and her taste of crystals and salt intensifies.
Keep a close eye on her.
I make sure my own temperature doesn't drop as I assure her. I do and will continue to do so. But she needs to start doing this on her own soon. I won't always be there to help her.
I know she needs to come into her own eventually, but why now?
The chill persists, and the air becomes sweeter. She's 8 cycles old. Most Ariareae are working on their own at that age.
I know, Screon. She needs to start soon, but why is she suddenly showing initiative now?
It's my birth cycle. Perhaps it's a gift.
I'd love for that to be true, Screon, but I just can't believe that. I worry about sudden behavior changes like this. They rarely come out of nowhere.
The sweetness becomes suffocating. I'll keep an eye on her and try to find out what's caused this change.
Please, Screon,
she says.
But not just her.
Keep an eye on your associate. My apologies. That was out of line.
But not wrong. I understand her concern.
The scent of crystals and salt fades into the background. Isaachia doesn't say anything else. Age hasn't quite made you bold yet, Isaachia, but I understand. She relaxes at that, and the chill finally dissipates and is replaced with a soft warmth.
Good,
she says. My blubber, you know how important Cologne is to me.
As if you provided her first limb.
Do I need to worry now? Is there more I need to say?
I don't think you need to worry like this.
Reese. A spot of water begins to bubble a bit before a long horn emerges, followed by a fluffy gray head that almost looks small compared to it. It's cute. There's a blur of bright green and the head is gone. In its place is a spot of red and a long chain of green crystals connected to a mechanism manned by some green people on the shore. The device starts reeling the chain back in, and the blood follows. Once it gets to the shallow waters, I can see the massive gray creature that was stabbed by a green javelin. That's covered in blood. Once the body reaches dry land, people erupt in cheers. They unhook the javelin from the crystals and drag the creature away into a tunnel. The trail of blood continues. I can smell the coppery scent now.
Natsubukornu,
Ketty says. At least it's just the scent of blood. I can handle that. Are you all right? Clone asks. I'm fine, I promise. So, was it attacking? That horn looks threatening.
No, it was probably just looking for food. The horn can be dangerous, and followers have been killed by it before, but they mostly use it to pierce through ice.
Ketty explains. If it wasn't attacking, then why kill it? For food, Clone explains before I can ask the question. I'm stupid. Or am I? Most civilizations this advanced have some sort of farming in place. Most can't get to this level without it. So you let it get in? I ask. Maybe it is a kind of farm.
If we didn't want it to get through, it wouldn't,
Ketty says.
The crystal layer of the dome below the water level is left brittle enough for them to pierce through.
Is the top of the turtle's shell flooded during this season? I ask. Let me show you a diagram, Clone says, pulling out a crystal. The Agus formed the ice domes during the season of Manura to raise their young. They keep up this dome until the end of Parosea, when mating season ends. The picture shows a diagram of a turtle and the ice emerging from the edges of the Agus shell to form an ice dome. Baby Agus can fit in there? I ask. They're about the size of a blubbert when they're born, Clone explains. Can I have one as a pet? I want a big baby turtle. But I wouldn't be able to take care of it when it grows up. Manura is the nest when the babies are eggs. The following seasons provide different foods with different nutrients the babies need to grow, Clone says as she scrolls through the diagrams of the different seasons, until they're big enough to fend for themselves. The last diagram shows the babies leaving through a hole in the ice. They look big enough to ride like a horse. It doesn't flood? I ask. They surface above the water to let the young Akus leave and the males come.
She swipes the crystal and the diagram changes to show a progression of Akus entering the hole the babies had just left from. They can't be much bigger than the baby Akus. They have an interesting sex life, I say. That would be the equivalent of a human... Yeah, I don't know why I even pretended I could do the math. And I don't think I want to know.
Indeed. Inside the dome, flowers bloom, attracting the males. But if one overstays his welcome, the scent of the flowers becomes toxic. Typically, most of them take the hint and leave before it takes their life.
Clone smiles at the end of that.
That's the season of Parosea.
Isn't that Kame's favorite season? The season she wished I could witness? The season of turtle sex and poison gas.
That's the one,
Clone says.
We take measures to ensure it's safe,
Ketty says. And you give the turtles privacy?
You think we enjoy watching the Akus procreate?
Clone asks with a smirk. I don't want to judge a seemingly harmless part of their culture.
I promise you we don't,
Clone says. Good to know, I say. So, what happens after Parosea? Clone smiles and pulls up another diagram of an Aku. A sheet of crystals rises straight up from the edges of the shell before it balloons out into a mushroom shape, complete with holes that look like spots. A little dinosaur-shaped mark appears and enters a hole. Clone zooms in on the hole and begins following the dinosaur shape through the tunnels, taking us on a virtual tour of the Aku diagram.
Ketty, you want to explain the ceremony?
Clone asks, carefully tracking the dinosaur-shaped figure. Ketty nods, hugging her blubbert tightly.
This season used to be a difficult time for the followers of Fetus.
She begins with a somber expression.
Could you pause for a moment, Ketty?
Clone asks. Ketty looks a bit surprised and worried. Clone looks like she wants to sigh.
You're doing fine. I just know Reese will want to record some notes.
Yes, please, I say and pull out my phone. Okay, I'm ready. Ketty looks a bit confused, but relieved.
Should I start from the beginning again?
That'd be great, I say. Ketty nods.
This season used to be a difficult time for the followers, back before the gift. The seasons where the Akus provided protection were dangerous, of course, but nothing compared to when we lost the protection of the dome. Once the young Akus are old enough to fend for themselves, the older Akus spend their time in more dangerous areas to allow the young to have access to the resources in the safer ones. All we could do was follow the Aku through the ice pockets and trust Fetus would keep us safe.
How? That seems insane.
The path of the Akus is constant, but the earlier followers had to be diligent to discover that path, Ketty says. And thanks to the work they did, their descendants were able to follow the path they forged. A treacherous path filled with dangerous creatures, a path they needed to traverse quickly to ensure they could meet up with their Akus again when the ice dome returned. Many didn't survive, but still, they trusted.
I nod. That seems like a terrible idea, but Ketty smiles, so hopefully she's a little less nervous, a little less scared of me.
And in the end, that trust was rewarded with the gift,
she says, sounding almost as serene as Skrion.
And those creatures that once hunted us as much as we hunted them are now at our mercy.
She turns to the pool in front of us. A large dinosaur-like creature shoots out through the tunnel and is shot with a spear-like crystal in an instant. It falls into the water and is dragged away to shore. That model, it's live, I whisper.
Indeed,
Clone answers.
During this ceremony, we'll explore the way this hunting has evolved over time, how hunting was done during the pre-gift era, and how the hunting was done after we received the gift.
We're hunting, I ask. Ketty nods.
We're hunting.
She seems a little less nervous. Which is good because now I'm feeling pretty nervous.